Welcome, everyone, to this ClickCreate Curator Spotlight. Today, we have Digital Disobedience by Patrick Amadon. Tell us about the theme and why you chose the artists.
Going with digital disobedience, right? I feel like that's why we're all here. I mean, everybody in this space is here because of their own reasons, and a lot of that's because maybe there wasn't a good fit in the previous art world. Maybe they're making work that didn't fit in with kind of the status quo. And I feel like that's the case with a lot of people here. A lot of people here are making incredible art, but it's not art that fit in really well into the boxes that you have at traditional galleries. It took years for us to even establish that pixel side value, right? So, and here we are. We have like a whole movement empowering people around the world. I think everybody in the space to some degree is disobedient, and these were several artists that I wanted to highlight, because I think all in their own ways have done some really interesting things to kind of, be authentically part of the space and share their visions in, ways that they're not compromising. They're being genuinely authentic. I wanted a group of artists that I feel like represented not only the theme well of digital disobedience, but had some relationship with glitch work. Right, that's my background. That's really the core of my community over the long run. So I just felt like these artists are worth highlighting, and it made sense with the theme, and I just wanted to get them in front of more people. I know them all personally. They all have struck me as people that are principled and artists first, and that was something I wanted to make sure that included in my month with ClickCreate.
How does the theme inform people's experience of the art?
Well, I think if you keep in mind that this is all art created by some digital disobedience, I think if you just bear in mind that these are all disruptive people with very strong opinions and very unique backgrounds, when you look at the art, I think you see the art differently. And I think that's important. It's not art coming from a privileged place that looks cool. And I think that's an important element in what's been created for this month. I think it really holds up critically, and I think the artists will be around for a long time. And I think they'll probably just become more well known, as they really deservedly should be. We're just early. I wanted to pick some people I really believed in and figure out how to tie the room together, as they say.
How does the art speak to the cultural moment we are living in?
Previous world, backgrounds in street art, you could throw something up on a wall and you kind of hope people see it, maybe hope some people write about it, but at the end of the day, it's on a wall, and usually not the most public wall, right? Maybe you can get a billboard, and that's usually taken down pretty quick, but you look at what we can do now, right? I mean, I was able to put art up on the largest billboard in Hong Kong in the middle of like government-sponsored art week. We have a platform right now that will only continue to grow as digital artists. So the amount of visibility that we have will only continue to grow, and with the visibility, I believe, comes a magnitude and a force and inertia. So when people do have something to say, you have such a more powerful avenue for expressing that. So I think when we start to see more artists lean into their stories and what they care about and what they want to say, with digital art, you have so many more very significant paths to do that, to have your message be heard a lot more loudly than potentially you could have in the past with art. that's kind of my thesis on why I think digital art will only become more significant as we move forward. It really comes down to, I believe, the ability of artists to impact people. Digital art will only continue to grow, and I think the ability of artists to impact people with digital art exceeds that of nearly any physical medium.
What role does the curator play in shaping the narrative?
I just want to call people's attention more towards the story. I feel like you see something you like, understand the artist, dig into like who they are and where they're coming from, and then the art itself will make a lot more sense. That's what's behind it. So I feel like understanding that the art and the artist are inseparable is kind of my role as a curator. I just want to find artists that I believe in, creating art that I like, and then just doing whatever to highlight them so people say, oh, these are people I should pay attention to. There's a lot of really good art out there. There's a lot of art out there. So I feel like it's helpful to have people, whether it's curators or writers, projects like yours, selecting artists from that pool and saying, hey, by the way, pause, take a look at this. We think this has merit for X reasons. If we put these artists out there, we say, hey, we like these artists because of these reasons. And then people will start to understand why we're doing it. And I think the more people understand why we're putting certain artists forward, the more it will make sense for the space as a whole as to what it is we like about the art, what it is we like about the artists. And just gradually over time, it'll kind of push the space that direction.
Why was APOC on the short list for this curation?
So APOC, I love APOC. APOC is, he has a lot of very interesting opinions, and you can tell he's thought really deeply about his work and also kind of the role of digital art and what this all looks like. I just think I think he's incredibly thoughtful. I think he puts together interesting work. I think incredibly highly of him, and I just wanted to, I've included him in shows before, but for something like ClickCreate, where it's just a handful of people, he's on the short list, and I wanted to, I wanted his work to get out there more widely. I think he deserves the eyeballs. I think he's, I just think really highly of him.
How does Empress Trash create using a strong voice?
So Empress Trash, she is one of my favorite people and one of the first people I met in the space. I came into the space late February 2021, and she was one of the first people I started chatting with. And she's a glitch person, really strong voice, comes from a background that wouldn't necessarily give you easy access to the art world. So I felt the kindred spirit in that sense, and I think her work's incredible, and I think some of the themes that she deals with are important. And I also appreciate how much fight she has. She speaks her mind. She has a lot of opinions. She's not afraid to share them. I love getting her thoughts. She's always really well spoken and very thoughtful about what she puts out there. And it's an honor to include her. I think she's an incredible artist, and she's one of the strongest people I know in this space. And I just have the absolute utmost respect for her.
How does NeuroColor use perspective to create unique art?
Yeah, I met Neuro beginnings of all of this. I just think he's somebody with a very interesting perspective, and that comes through in the art. It's just very different. And I think when you see his work, it's a very obviously, oh, that is his work. And I think that's always interesting when artists can find their rabbit hole and go so deep that their work becomes very easily identifiable as their work. I think Neuro is somebody that's done that. And just thematically and kind of across the board, he's consistently making interesting work. That he'd be a good person for this month. I feel like brings some balance to the overall exhibition, and he's become a friend at this point. I'm happy to highlight it.
How does TP create art that is timeless?
I first came across Tippy's work through the 404 catalog. So I was scrolling through, and then I saw this piece, and I thought to myself, okay, this is interesting. It's not like anything else that I've seen. Then I started looking into the artist. Her themes of kind of westward expansion and the role of indigenous peoples and land rights and the whole situation there, I thought was really interesting. But it's also something I feel like only somebody with her background could tell too. And, also I felt it, again, kind of conceptually felt glitchy. And coming from her voice with her background, it just felt very powerful to me. I just felt like she's a good person to highlight in the space. There's a lot of very diverse perspectives out there. And especially with her, getting to know her and her story, and then seeing the art, it just clicked. I think what she's doing is incredibly interesting. And I think what she's doing is something that will age very well.